Stop sending your most valuable thoughts to servers you don't control. In 2026, cloud AI isn't just a tool. It's a massive telemetry trap designed to harvest your proprietary data. It's time to reclaim your digital sovereignty by running quantized models on your own private silicon. Today, we re-diving into why local LMs are replacing cloud AI for total user data privacy, and why 2026 became the year millions of people finally stopped trusting the cloud with their most sensitive data. If you renew here, this is Quantum Highway. We cover the biggest tech shifts happening right now, from AI and local models to quantum computing and everything in between. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next, and let's get into it. What actually changed in 2026 that made so many people walk away from the cloud? For years, people fed their most private thoughts, business strategies, medical questions, and personal struggles into cloud AI systems. Every prompt left a permanent trail. Every conversation was logged, analyzed, and stored on someone else's servers. That year became the tipping point. Users finally stopped accepting the trade-off. They realized that privacy settings were just interface illusions. So what is the real structural problem most people had been ignoring? The moment your words leave your device and travel to a distant data center, you lose control. A sensitive corporate strategy, a personal health concern, a private legal question, all of it travels across the internet, lands on machines you will never see, and sits in databases controlled by companies whose business model depends on data. Even when those companies promise not to train on your inputs, the data still exists. It can be subpoenaed, it can be leaked, it can be retained longer than anyone admits. Why is this vulnerability built so deeply into cloud AI? Because you are not speaking into a sealed room. You are speaking into a system designed for scale, logging, and long-term storage. The more powerful the model, the more valuable the data becomes, and the harder it is for any provider to truly delete it or keep it isolated. What new idea emerged from this realization? Digital sovereignty. It means privacy is no longer a toggle in the settings menu. It is a physical reality. When the model runs on your own hardware on a machine, sitting in your home or office, the data never leaves. There is no remote server. There is no third-party log. There is no corporate retention policy to trust or distrust. The conversation stays where it began, with you. How powerful is that single change? That shift from cloud to local turns privacy from a promise into a fact of physics. And in 2026, millions of people decided that fact was worth the switch. But was the hardware even ready to make this possible? Something fundamental changed in the silicon sitting on our desks and in our bags. By 2026, the average consumer laptop is no longer just a thin client waiting for the cloud. It has become a serious inference machine. Neural processing units that once struggled with basic photo filters now deliver tens of trillions of operations per second. Unified memory architectures let the CPU, GPU, and NPU share the same high bandwidth pool instead of constantly copying data back and forth. What does that actually unlock? Models that required an entire server rack only a few years ago now run comfortably on a machine you can carry under one arm. And the speed difference is no longer subtle. On-decision inference happens in the same room as you. There is no round trip across the internet. No waiting in a queue behind thousands of other users. No sudden slowdown when a popular API endpoint gets congested. The first token appears almost instantly. The full response streams at the pace of thought. How does this compare to the cloud experience most people still accept? Cloud endpoints still live at the mercy of network latency, rate, limits, and shared infrastructure. Even on a good day, that extra half second to 2 seconds of delay is noticeable on a bad day. It turns a fluid conversation into a stop-start exercise in patience. What final breakthrough made high-performance local AI practical for ordinary users' quantization? Modern techniques have become so effective that a carefully quantized billion parameter model can deliver performance surprisingly close to its full precision Frontier counterpart while fitting inside the memory of a high-end laptop. You no longer need a basement full of GPUs or a corporate cloud budget. The same class of reasoning, coding, and analysis that once lived only in data centers now travels with you offline if you want it. Private by default, and fast enough that the hardware almost disappears. Is this just a technical upgrade or something deeper? This is the quiet hardware revolution that made the privacy shift possible. The silicon finally caught up to the idea that the most powerful AI should live on the user's own machine. But even if the hardware works, what hidden cost are most cloud users still paying? There is a cost buried inside almost every free or subscription cloud AI service. Every prompt you type, every correction you make, every long conversation you have is quietly collected. Those interactions become training data for the next proprietary model. In other words, you are not just a customer, you are unpaid labor. The more useful the system becomes for you, the more valuable your data becomes for the company. How does local deployment break that cycle? It cuts the telemetry chain completely. In an air-gapped setup, the model waits live on your own storage. The inference engine runs entirely on your hardware. No outbound connection is required once the files are downloaded. There is no telemetry beacon, no usage report, no background upload of prompts or embeddings. The conversation never leaves the machine. What does the architecture actually look like? It is simple and radical at the same time. The model is just another program. The weights are just files. And the only network the system needs is the one you deliberately allow or none at all. What two serious risks does this independence also eliminate? First, model collapse. When a cloud provider decides a model is outdated, too expensive to run, or politically inconvenient, they can depreciate it overnight. Your workflows break, your custom prompts stop working. Second, sudden policy changes. Access can be restricted, features removed, or entire accounts suspended without warning. With a local model, those risks disappear. The weights stay on your drive, the software stays under your control. No remote update can take away the tool you already have. What does it ultimately mean to run the model yourself? You stop feeding the telemetry machine. You keep the system air-gapped when you choose, and you own the capability instead of renting it. That is what it means to break the chain. So what is the real difference between cloud AI and local AI at the deepest level? Cloud AI is rented. Local AI is owned. A subscription can be raised, restricted, or canceled. A model hosted in the cloud can be deprecated, rate limited, or quietly altered. The moment the provider changes the terms, the tool you built your workflow around can vanish or become unusable. How permanent is ownership when you host the weights yourself? Open source weights stored on your own drive do not share that fragility. Once the files are downloaded, they remain exactly as they are. No remote switch can turn them off. No policy update can rewrite their behavior overnight. The capability stays on your storage, under your control, for as long as the hardware can run it. Has the economics finally flipped in favor of local? Yes, in 2026, the upfront cost of a capable local machine is often lower than the lifetime spend on private or enterprise cloud tiers. A few years of high-tier API fees or dedicated cloud instances can easily exceed the price of a high-memory laptop or compact workstation. After the hardware is paid for, every additional inference is essentially free. There is no per-token meter still running in the background. Are there benefits beyond money and privacy? Localized compute carries ethical and environmental advantages as well. When the model runs on your desk, you decide when it runs and how much energy it consumes. You can schedule heavy jobs for off-peak hours, power the machine from renewable sources, or simply turn it off when it is not needed. There is no always-on data center footprint dedicated to your personal or small team usage. The processing cycles belong to you, not to a distant facility optimizing for maximum utilization across thousands of users. What does true ownership ultimately give you? Owning the weights means the intelligence stays yours. Owning the energy means the cost and the impact stay visible and controllable. That combination is quietly rewriting who holds real power in the age of AI. So here's where we are. Local LLMs are not a niche experiment anymore. They are the practical response to a simple truth. If the model, the hardware, and the energy are not yours, then neither is the privacy. We watched the data exodus, the leap in local silicon, the breaking of the telemetry chain, and the shift toward owning both the weights and the power that runs them. The pattern is clear. The more capable the local hardware becomes, the less reason there is to keep sending your most sensitive work into someone else's data center. True private intelligence does not come from better terms of service. It comes from physical control, the model on your drive, the processing on your machine, the decision of when it runs entirely in your hands. If this perspective resonates with you, consider what it would mean to move even one critical workflow fully local. The tools are already here, the hardware is ready. The only missing piece is the decision to stop renting and start owning. If you renew here, this is Quantum Highway, from AI to quantum and everything in between. Hit subscribe so you catch the next deep dive, and I'll see you in the next one.